Hey guys out there, you are watching the Jamal and Joe show. I am Jamal, and that's Joe, and we are here to talk to you about current events, things that impact your life, and just all around stuff. It might get heavy, it might get light, but we're going to talk about it all night.
Nice.
That rhymed. Didn't even mean to.
I was wondering if you worked on that because that's not bad.
Things just come off the top of my head. I don't know.
No, go with it. So, not a lot going on this week. So I don't know if you want to share like a recipe, or
It's
movie.
it's really strange that like nothing at all happened this week. Like not a dang thing happened.
Pretty dull. So I don't know. In a way, folks were. It's always funny how, it's one catastrophe after another. And I think that's kind of the game plan with this administration because, it's just too much to keep up with, it turns out. And nobody will. And especially when there's just no consequence, then you don't have to keep up with it. You just keep rolling. So where we are now, though, I don't know. Is it a hoax?
So my 11-year-old, I told you before, she's a big TikTok fan.
Okay.
She has her own TikTok channel.
Yes.
And so she's been informing me that Gen Z, she knows what Gen Z is, hates Donald Trump.
So now that's a generation that's older than her, though, right?
No, she's Gen Z.
Oh.
She's 11. She's Gen Z.
Okay. All right.
And she informed me that only 2% of Gen Z likes Donald Trump. And they only like Donald Trump because their parents have forced them to.
What poll was that?
What's that?
What poll was that?
The TikTok poll.
The TikTok poll. I got you. Okay, well,
scientific.
2% of TikTokers that are of the Gen Z.
Yes.
Approve of the Don.
So one thing she told me. So let me tell you this. So one thing she told me, she goes, "Dad," and I'm like, "Yes." She goes, "I figured out what irony means." I'm like, "Okay, keep talking." She says Donald Trump has coronavirus, and he's been telling everybody that coronavirus doesn't exist and it's not a big deal, and they had to take him in a military helicopter to the hospital. That's ironic. I'm like, yeah, okay. You understand what irony means.
Yeah.
He also says he's been saying that nobody needs to wear a mask, and he hasn't worn a mask, and he got coronavirus. That's ironic. Now, coming from an 11-year-old trying to explain irony, I'm like, yeah, you get it. That you get it.
The only out I see of that, and just because that's what we're here for, is if he comes out of this pretty unscathed, and again, he's got like the best medical facility and doctors in the world attending to him. That if he comes out of it unscathed on the other side, he's like, see, I told you it wasn't that bad.
Right.
I mean, it's not like it's a thing to have to, worry about. It's just like, it seems like every time you think you got him, he just squiggles free.
Well, I think, so I saw a news report. I was reading an article, it's a couple different sources, that he didn't want to go to the hospital. And if you were watching the coverage of it, when they were showing him walking out of the White House residence to Marine One, he didn't go because he was concerned about the optics of it.
Speaking of the optics, and I'm limiting my interruptions, I'm going to put it on a chalkboard up here. But there's a picture I saw that suggested and circled, because it was like that he was carrying a portable oxygen concentrator. This sounds like this is like we're going. Here we go. With a tube that ran up like the back of his neck, and then because he was wearing a mask,
right,
ran into his mask, so he could have had a full tilt, almost respirator on underneath that mask. Yep. And then he's a big dude, he's a big fat dude. And his clothes are awful. Honestly, I don't know I'm not even a fashion person, but dude, you're the president of the United States. And I mean, isn't there like a presidential tailor?
You would assume there would be.
Who isn't like, oh, here's a wet sack, Mr. President, put that on. But anyway, his clothes are so biggy and baggy and bulky that he could easily hide, and you would appreciate that, from just a quick trip out to the choppa of, kind of smuggling along a little device like that of an oxygen concentrator.
Mm-hmm.
So and then again, and they showed in the photo, you could see like the little tube,
thing going up his
there.
ear.
So maybe he's not as well off.
Right. Well, unless the guy dies, we'll never know how bad off he was, right?
Sure.
So, but I was watching the coverage, and like Marine One was sitting there, and it's it's spinning around, and they're waiting for him to come out, and there was like 7 to 10 minute delay waiting for him to come out of the residence to the chopper. And I don't know who leaked it or whatever, but he was telling people he didn't want to go to the hospital because he was concerned about the optics of what that would look like, that he got coronavirus and had to be hospitalized.
Yeah.
So they were trying to find a way to spin it that he was just going in for a checkup, but then he ended up staying for a day or 2 or 3. He's going to come out and say it wasn't a big deal and he just stayed there because X, Y, or Z. We all know this thing is dangerous. And, he's at that age where it could be really dangerous. And here's the thing. I don't like the guy. I'll go on record. I don't think it's a shock. I don't like Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Donald Trump the first time. I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump this time. However, as the president of the United States, I don't wish any ill will on him. I don't want the guy to die. I don't want the guy to get really sick. I just want to vote him the heck out of office in November, but I don't wish ill will on anybody, him included.
Avery. That's nice of you.
Yeah.
We could take a poll. How many do they do that on the can we do that underneath like a poll?
Yeah.
Do you wish Donald speedy recovery? It ain't for the mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is very religious, and that is fantastic for her. And when we were on a FaceTime yesterday, I think we had interrupted her during church or whatever, or like a prayer, or anyway. So we were like, hey, sorry, we'll go. And she's like, oh no. And she was talking for a minute. She's like, I'm just doing prayers. And I'm like, are you praying for the president? I wish I recorded it. It would have been worth sharing with everybody here. But yeah, it's hard to wish well somebody that one has done so much harm to a lot of folks directly. Like, direct decisions harm people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the kind of collateral damage harm where you go, okay, maybe a lot of your drone strikes took out a bunch of wedding parties, and that's terrible, and that weighs on you. Okay, fine, and those are heavy decisions, whatever. But there's other decisions which seem outright from this administration where you're like, that it just seemed absolute ill will. And there's a lot of examples from at the border to I don't know. I only got to look at my notes to what is it? Stand up or stand back, stand by.
Yeah, stand.
Roger.
Yeah.
Hey, Dodger, come and get your guns. I mean, man.
I just look at it. I just look at it this way. So
But I get you respecting the office, which that's the first thing. So I just wanted to add one other thing, because like Biden's campaign said, oh, we're going to stop our negative ads while the president is sick as a gesture of goodwill. Like, oh, let's see how far that gets you.
Yeah.
The same day, like the president's team was like, oh no, Biden said something that we didn't like, so we're full steam ahead of every shit ad that we can think of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just, that is that I have long believed that lack of a fighting killer instinct. I'm not saying a willingness to cheat, but at least a willingness to, well, I mean, shoot, to exploit every angle of the law. I mean, isn't
Right.
that your job as a senator or a congressman or an attorney at that level? Is that you are savvy to, like we've talked about before, how all this stuff has blindsided people and they didn't see it coming. That is so ridiculous to me. I mean, I could give that excuse because I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a senator and I don't do this for a living. And even I am not blindsided by that. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? That part.
I mean, I think it's, you know, I think you might be underestimating the Biden campaign a little bit, because they can say, hey, we're not going to run any negative ads while the guy's in the hospital, right? The guys are going to be out of the hospital in a few days. And if the Trump campaign starts running negative ads, they can say, hey, look, we said we were going to call a timeout until he was out of the hospital, but you guys didn't stop. So we're back full on. So then they can go even more negative and not look like they're piling on a guy who's sick. So I think it was calculated that they knew Trump wouldn't stop. So then they can go back and do what they were doing. And they don't have any backlash saying,
they make the token effort of like, hey,
right, this guy's laying on his back in the hospital and you're running negative ads. We said we would stop and we asked you guys to stop and you didn't. So here we go. We gave you the
as long as they fire it back up. And you know what I mean? Because if they don't, then there's my disappointment.
Right.
If they do, and if, like you say, that was calculated and they're like, hey, we're going to walk you right into this of like, just like you said, then I love it. And I look forward to their ads coming up directly to hammer them.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing about Trump and the coronavirus, I mean, since March, he's downplayed the whole thing, said it wasn't serious.
Sure, of course.
You know, and then even the night of the debate, I don't know if you saw this, the night of the debate, I was watching it, and the reporters who were covering Trump were remarking on Twitter how he was making fun of Biden because Biden walked into the hall or the arena wherever they had the debate wearing a mask, and all his people were wearing a mask. And he was like, look at this coward walking in wearing a mask. And, you know, and it's just like, A, he's the president and the name calling is just, you know, awful. But B,
trademark, I mean.
Yeah, but B, 24 hours later, the guy gets coronavirus, and we know a mask will help.
Is it suggested that he knew it then? That they knew then that he was? Like,
no, it wasn't. It wasn't to the day after. To Hope Hicks got tested, and then after Hope Hicks got tested, then he got tested. So none of them knew they had it the day of the debate.
Okay.
Or so we're told.
I mean, I would assume that they're testing themselves every day. I mean, dude, or maybe not, because he's going out every day spraying his stuff to everybody in every crowd.
They've traced it to like 15 people that have gotten coronavirus from him, like 3 senators.
Yeah, no, it's been like just popping left and right.
Yeah.
Again, you know, the conventions or the fundraiser. I mean, they were naming off several events that he went to after they knew that he was positive. Like he went to like a fundraiser and he went to like a rally.
Yeah,
and you're like, dude. I mean, and again, you know, the supporters don't seem to be mind at all. He's there spraying that stuff right to him. I mean,
that's the thing that gets me is like, does he have to drive this ship into the shore and the ship catch on fire and sink before those guys jump off? Like I just don't get it. I don't get it.
You know, so, and the funny thing is that they say, you know, I've heard Republicans call Democrats a cult. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, like let's unpack that for a second.
So yeah, sure. I was going to move on to something lighthearted and fun, but no, knock that out. Go for it.
I mean, is the Republican Party even the Republican Party, or is it the cult of Trump?
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
that guy says one thing, and everybody is lockstep right in it. I mean, it's the definition of a cult.
Yeah, I know, and it's not just all the senators and congressmen that are in lockstep, which of course they are, but even to his just average supporter, how But again, I mean, when all you do is get all your info from one output,
Mm-hmm.
and that output is an entertainment output,
Mm-hmm.
then or maybe you branch out and after you shut off Fox News, you log on to whatever other nonsense
Right.
website. Man, I was totally gonna say that. I was like, I don't even want to say them. That's hilarious. So yeah, I try to get info from at least a few different places.
Yeah,
I like to go to the aggregate sites where news comes in from different places,
right.
and people will kind of discuss it and bat it down or support it, and this is why, and they actually talk, which is nice. Gives me ideas, but also lets me know that people still do that in the world, talk like adults. Because if all I do is tune into the highlight reel of telly, then we're all just at throats.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do one quick little shout out back to buffets.
Yes. Talk to me.
I owe an apology to Indian food buffet.
Okay.
Have you ever been to Indian food buffet?
One time.
And
I love it. I love Indian food.
I mean, do you? Well, I guess we should qualify this. Do you like you like buffets to begin with? So I was making a big thing about not liking buffets at all. I have to say, there's an exemption here.
Okay.
Indian food buffet, so good.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, and so I was wrong, and
Takes a big man to be wrong.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna scratch that off the list of feeling bad about buffets, Indian food buffet.
Well, we may be talking about a little bit of food and buy or sell later on, so that might be on the topic docket.
And I was wondering, I mean, I don't know if I need to deep dive real quick on Indian food buffet, just so folks, if you're not familiar, I'm just going to pretend that you're not. So here's the thing, Indian food buffet. They're delicious. And it's ridiculous because honestly, there is so much food and it's buffet, so you eat all you want. But everyone I've been to at least 3 different Indian food buffets. I mean, they've all just been just lights out. And it's just remarkable how much food you can, you can have as much food as you want, of course. The quality of food is just outstanding. There's such a variety of, meat. There's so many different flavors in Indian food. It's ridiculous. And there's so many flavors that I am not usually familiar with eating. So that's what's so neat. It's just a rainbow. So I love Indian food buffet. And because Indian food dinner at same restaurant, expensive as hell.
Yes.
Indian food buffet, reasonable.
Not expensive.
Dude, reasonable. And like Indian food dinner, oh my God, you get like super, like, you get to have 1 or 2 things and that's it. Whereas like, oh, come at lunchtime and we have all of it out and it's like half price. Okay, sweet. That sounds good. Maybe this is from last night. I don't care.
The only thing about Indian food is the older I get, my stomach can't handle the spices like it used to. And
I think those spices are good for you.
No, I know.
Dude, that's like the spice road.
It definitely.
We're going over history with my kiddo, we're starting from monkeys turning into people, and we're kind of moving from there. But like just the spice road out of India and like what people, what people were going through just for spices. It's crazy. I mean, they were traveling the entire known earth for different spices
to get those spices
because they're so delicious, and I think they're good for you too, probably. So I don't know. There's my.
No, I don't doubt that they're good for you. It's just I don't know. My tummy is.
I honestly do. I honestly believe that stuff is good for. As again, I will repeat, as somebody of fragile digestion, I really think stuff like that is good for the tongue. I'm not a doctor, folks.
You just play one on a podcast,
man. But I tell you what, my anecdotal evidence of, stuff I know I can eat and stuff I know that will ruin me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know if I go have pizza, it will ruin my tongue. It's delicious, but it will ruin me. Indian food, I mean, I might have, a moment or 3 or 4 in the bathroom, but worth it.
Right. Let me ask you this: Indian food or Thai food?
I mean, both.
If you had to pick.
I mean, one for dinner, one for lunch. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Thai food's so good. Back
Love Thai food, man.
When I was at the office, there was a Thai food restaurant nearby. And I would ask them, I got on this thing about like spicy food.
Mm-hmm.
And like there was a Chinese food restaurant nearby, a Szechuan kind of specialty, and it was so good. I mean, you could watch them with the woks, fire shooting out. You could see it through the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Super great food. But I would ask them for spicy stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh, this is spicy." I was like, "Okay, it's not. Can you go to 8 stars?" Oh, okay. And I'd be like, "Okay, can you do 10 stars?"
Right.
I didn't want to tempt them. I'm never silly enough to do that because,
right.
I mean, honestly, that's like sending your food back. You ever send your food back?
You send your food back, you're taking your life in your own hands.
You're getting a dick in your food, folks. I mean, yes. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen. And so don't send your food back. But likewise, don't challenge folks to make it spicier because they will. And a bit, especially if they send out, man. So because the waiter, it was so hilarious because all these folks, I mean, they speak very broken English, very thick accent, and to me, I'm thinking, you folks know hot way better than I do. And I'm like asking for 10 and you're like, no way, you're going to eat 10? I'm like, come on, bring it. And it's nothing. And when I sent 10 back.
Ooh. Okay.
Right? And
so
I even did
put a whole damn pepper on there, huh?
I was nervous, right? Because I was like, look, and the guy was really, I mean, the people, they're so friendly. It was so much fun. But I was like, look, I'm not trying to have you kill me. I'm just saying, can you make it a little spicier after they brought out the 10? And I was like, it's not that spicy. And I watched because you could look into the kitchen and they go into the kitchen. And you see him talking to the chef because he's busy doing some stuff. And he kind of looks at them and he looks up at me and he looks back at that. He's like, and you see him do some stuff and it comes back out.
If he did the head shake, you were in trouble. If he did the head shake, you were in trouble.
It was pretty hot. It was like offensively hot,
Were you sweating?
I was like, yeah, good one,
Oh, now they're going to remember you, and every time you go in there.
Oh, no, they bring out a special sauce. Oh. They bring the head waiter dude will bring it out. He's like, oh, I got the extra sauce for you. I'm like, thanks, man.
Hey, speaking of hot food real quick, do you remember that stuff that my dad and my brother used to have? And I don't know if you were over at the house and they were putting it on their food, and I put a little bit on a toothpick, and it about killed me.
Oh, were they stirring it into soup?
Yes.
Or like a big thing of chili or something?
Yeah.
Like a bowl or something?
And it was ridiculously hot.
Yeah, I do recall that. And it was great. And like you said, it was just like the tip of a toothpick kind of.
Yeah, and I took it, and my whole face, I was tearing up, and I was sweating. I've never been able to do hot food, though.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the Thai food because this restaurant near my work and I would go to a lot, and I started getting on the same kick of asking them to make it spicier. But I just like to offer out there to all my Southeast Asian friends. Thai food is really spicy, and I honestly, like, I thought it was like the spiciest thing ever until ask for the medium hot at Indian food. I swear to God,
Indian food will burn you up.
it was
Like
insane, and it was a different kind of heat. It was like it tasted. I mean, it was like a powder heat. Like, it was unbelievable. I've never tasted anything as hot as the medium. And the kid was so nice at the Indian food buffet there. He's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Give me the hot." He's like, "You don't want the hot."
You can't handle the hot.
And again, I'm coming off of like the Chinese food restaurant,
Right.
you know, Szechuan hot, where I laugh at your number 10. I'm coming off of the Thai food place where I get at a rating of up to 5 stars. I will get the 5 stars, and it hurts. And it's actually kind of a fun experience because like I try to power through it, and like the guy will even come around and be like the kid, he'll be like, "Why do you do this?" But I mean, because again, it's so good. What's so amazing? There's so much heat, but there's so much flavor still. You know, their heat does not kill the flavor. It makes for another layer of experience. And so, I mean, not only are you eating something amazingly good, delicious, there's so much pain going on, you know, but yet there's so much good feeling going on. It's a wild ride, you know, and I get done with lunch, and it's like seriously, like all the way down, like even into my tongue. It's just burning. It's just hot, you know, but it's good. But it doesn't make my stomach like acidic to where like I have acid reflux kind of that doesn't happen with that crazy spicy food. And I get that crazy acid with, like I said, I'll eat pizza or I'll have a big bowl of cereal.
Right.
That will make my tummy all acidy. But having that crazy, crazy hot Thai food that is literally burning my face off as I eat it, it does not give me an acidy stomach. Go figure.
And you know, I've just never been able to do hot food. Like, I just can't. I remember you guys like making fun of me back in the day. Like, I just can't do it. Like, I don't know what it is. I've just never been able to do hot food. I don't mind spicy, but I can't do hot.
It's all just relative now, because now I don't mind just a little spicy, like to my mom would be face melting, and she would go, "Get that away from me." But, you know, I mean, honestly, anything to my mom other than oatmeal is spicy. So, I mean, you know, it's relative, and you could work your way up. You could build your tolerance if you have a little dab every day. I mean, dude, I haven't eaten at that Thai food joint for 6 or 7 months now. So I think if I went back to have the number 5, I would be in for some trouble.
Like, woo.
Yeah.
I remember my dad used to tell me about Mississippi hot sauce, and I don't think that was even a thing, but he would always say that Gator sauce was really hot. You know, anything out of Florida was really hot, and then anything out of Mississippi or Louisiana was really hot. And you know, Louisiana and Mississippi and Florida all had different types of spices, but the heat was still the same. You know, it was just, you know, it's almost like a dialect type of thing, that it was all hot, but the flavor was a little bit different. But he talked about how the Mississippi sauce was just hot. There was no flavor. It was all heat.
It was all just heat. Well, I mean, there's like just the different types of barbecue, you know.
Oh, yeah.
The dry barbecue, the dry rub barbecue, the sauce bar. I mean, you're in Carolina. You're in Carolina. I assume the 2 Carolinas do their barbecue differently, maybe.
Oh, man, the barbecue wars.
Might there be some wars down there? Go tell me about it.
Well, I mean, you have like Eastern North Carolina barbecue, and then Western North Carolina barbecue, and then South Carolina barbecue. So you got like 3 different. Because
so
you
North
have like
Carolinas get 2 of their own. South Carolina just as a whole
has 1.
Has 1.
Because some people like the more vinegar based. barbecue, and some people like the tomatoey type barbecue, and then South Carolina is more of that mustardy type barbecue.
I bet there's restaurants representing any of those that are probably quite delicious.
There's a place in town where there's a place in town where there's 4 corners and there's 4 different style barbecue restaurants on each corner.
Oh my God.
And you can just kind of choose which one you want to do.
I assume there's got to be like an award for like going to all 4. You know what I mean? Like
a
bar crawl of ribs.
And the thing you don't ever want to do here is mention anything about like Kansas City barbecue. People will like kick you out of their establishment.
So now, what's the difference with that one? Sauce.
It's a little sweeter.
So okay,
stuff.
So they don't like the sweet action.
No, that's just the difference. The North Carolina stuff is a little more on the savory or bitter side, and the Kansas City stuff is a lot sweeter.
And so all the Carolina folks don't like the sweeter action.
Right.
Gotcha.
Now.
And Texas does their own thing, right? But I know
Texas has their own way to cook brisket and all that, and you
seem
to
like
me,
you put your nose at it like you look down on. However,
yeah, I don't know. I've gotten used to the vinegar stuff here. Like I really like the vinegar-based barbecue.
Preference
where I never did before. I was never a big vinegar guy.
I'm really interested about it right now.
But it's delicious. I mean, I like Eastern North Carolina barbecue and Western North Carolina barbecue. I'm like, hey, invite me. I'll show up and be your taste tester. And people will throw down here. As a matter of fact, in just a few hours, we are cooking an entire pig. Yeah, we got the big spigot, and we're cooking an entire pig and all the fixings that go with it, and we're about to throw down. So at about I think about 6 a.m. the pig goes on, and it'll be ready around 1 o'clock.
What's the occasion? Just Sunday?
Panthers football, yes.
Oh my goodness gracious!
So as you know, I'm a season ticket holder for the Carolina Panthers. Huge fan. Been a season ticket holder since like 2014.
No more Cam Newton. Is that accurate?
No, let's not talk about that. I'm still heartbroken over that.
See, I'm so out of sports right now, but I know little tidbits. So
yeah,
that's enough that could be like a segment right now. So let's do sports. What's up with Cam Newton not being a Panther fan?
Oh, would have to go there as the introduction. So, long story short, he got hurt, and he got hurt as his contract expired.
Okay,
and then coronavirus hit. And the team couldn't have him in to examine him because the NFL draft and all that stuff and free agency was in March, and that was when everything blew up and everybody was like shut in.
Yep.
So the team couldn't examine him, and the team is trying to rebuild anyway, and they were getting rid of all of the high dollar players, so they let him go. They just didn't re-sign him.
Wow.
So he re-signed in New England, so he's a New England Patriot now, and he's doing really well. But the thing is, the Panthers are trying to be bad this year so they can get good draft picks for next year.
Rebuild.
So I don't think they would have re-signed him anyway because he would have won games and they're trying to be bad. But so I've been a season ticket holder since 2014, so haven't missed a game since then. And with the coronavirus, they gave all the season ticket holders a chance to defer their tickets to next year. So my tickets were already paid for this year. So, you can't get into NFL stadiums. I mean, now, like Bank of America Stadium where the Panthers play holds 76,000 people. And they can only have 7% of capacity this week. So, like, 5,200 people can go. So we deferred our tickets to next year, so our tickets are paid for. But we're still going to throw down and do a tailgate party.
Nice.
But we're only inviting certain people. So we're doing it at my brother-in-law's house. So it's basically going to be family with a few people just because I'm not trying to be around a whole bunch of people. Right. But these are people that I've been around, just the family already. So by the time this comes out, it'll be over, so nobody can kind of sneak in without an invite.
Well, back to the pig. Can I have some?
Absolutely. I will send you pictures.
Oh my gosh, what's your favorite part? The
Um,
crispy skin. I mean, come on,
I mean,
it's got to be
so
the crispy
so
skin.
growing up,
We
mom and dad would.
did that in the backyard. I remember.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah.
Uh,
I like anything, but I don't like chitlins. I don't like pig's feet, and that's about it. I'll eat any other part, but not chitlins or pig feet. Don't like that at all.
got you. That sounds so good.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a chitlins fan.
I've never had it, so
Oh, you're not missing. You're
most I had
you,
was
you,
just
you've
like,
been you've been at my parents' house when my dad was cooking chitlins. I mean, it smells like
and I didn't have it.
it smells awful. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
probably haven't had chitlins in 30 years.
I bet they're good though. You know what I mean? Like if you had a couple cocktails, right?
I
And
mean, but
like
isn't anything good after a couple cocktails?
maybe, but whatever. Are they fried and crispy little bits, or is a chitlin like in a soup?
Boil them. Yeah, you
Boil
boil
the
it.
poo out of it.
Yes,
Really?
and then you serve it boiled.
Why wouldn't you fry it?
You could fry it, but traditional chitlins are just boiled. Yeah, you just get the chitlin out of the soup, put it on your plate, and you put a little hot sauce or ketchup on it, and you eat it that way. Yeah, it's not. It's there's nothing. There's nothing. You're not missing anything. You're not.
I feel like those should be fried. I'm just putting that out there too.
I mean,
Like chitlin eating folks.
you know, I know the town you live
Do
in.
folks fry chitlins? Is that a thing?
I'll have to research that. But here's the thing: when things are safe for you to go out where you are, find a soul food restaurant and
I'm not getting chitlins, dude. No, I'm not. No.
ask him if they'll fry some chitlins for you.
Okay.
I personally will probably never
The
eat.
first one thought about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can go on record and say I will probably never have a chitlin again in my entire life.
Would you have one if it was fried?
No,
What if it was like really freaking good?
I growing up.
What if it was like a calamari?
Oh, man. So I'll tell you this: I'm 47 years old. The last time I had chitlins was when I was 14 years old. 14.
It stands out then.
Yes. And I had chitlins probably once a month from the time I was 6 or 7 to 14. So I've had my fill. I've done my share.
Once a month. What was the once a month occasion?
That's just
Sunday dinner or something?
that was just the rotation of what they did with chitlins, just the rotation. Chitlins, black eyed peas, cornbread, greens,
The
and it was
texture on those has got to be like a thing.
what's that?
The texture
Oh, it's
of a chitlin.
just awful. Just awful.
I'm a texture guy. I got to be honest, and I have my I reached quick.
Like I told you last week, it was when I was 14 was when I realized I could miss a meal and I wouldn't.
Yeah,
and when it was chitlins day, it was deuces. I'm going over here. I'm going to go eat somewhere else. I don't want to smell them being cooked.
Did you have stashes of food?
Well, remember down in my room and when I lived in my parents' house in the basement, I had my own fridge.
So there you go.
So I kept stuff in there. So I
Go eat in the basement, Mom.
in the basement. Yeah.
Bop.
What do you got for me? What's on your list?
I was going to ask you a list item.
Well, we could do buy or sell now, and I've got some kind of lighter things right now. I know we went over the whole our fearless leader having coronavirus and what conspiracy
right.
might
Well,
come
we
from
could,
that.
since you brought it back up, the idea that is going to stall out any voting or progression of the Supreme Court nominations.
Yes.
They will weekend at Bernie's that will, I swear to God, they will, Mitch McConnell will personally shove his hand up a dead corpse ass of Donald Trump and
They're going to
they don't give a shit. They don't care. I mean,
right. So think about
this is the goal, man, more than anything else.
Think about the timing. Think about the timing. There's like 30 days to the election. There's like 4 senators, Republican senators right now that have coronavirus from this whole Trump thing.
Right. And
they've got a quarantine for 14 days. That gives you 14 days before the election to try to ram that thing through. Now, you're right. Mitch McConnell's going to find a way to do it, but it's not going to be easy.
Well, that hasn't stopped him so far.
Right. And if anybody else gets it, then there goes their vote.
I mean, and they're showing like some photos of like it was a gathering, not of juggalos, but of people for like it was for the nomination of the Supreme Court Justice lady.
Yeah.
And it was an outside event, but I mean, the folks were sitting just not
right
to
next to each other.
Right. And you're like, okay, but it's outside, so maybe that's okay. It's not, because dude, they're all over each other. But then it shows them like afterwards, like at a party that's indoors, like, totally closed environment. They're all hugging each other. Like,
they're just passing it around left and right.
Whew. I mean, yeah.
So you want to do a little buy or sell?
Let's do it.
All right. So buy or sell.
Yep.
Number 1 issue on buy or sell. Strip clubs. Are you buying or are you selling, and why?
You say strip clubs?
Strip clubs.
I mean, do what you got to do. I know we're like the most per capita. I'm pretty sure that's one of the stats people here love to brag about, is that we have more strip clubs per capita than any place else in the country here in Portland. Hooray for us. And there are some really nasty ones. Oh my God. Just remembering bachelor parties and stuff. I mean, like, wow, can we just turn around and go back out of this place? Because, no. It's I know that a lot of places are not near as welcoming of them as we are here. I don't know how much they've driven down our entire society just because we have strip clubs here, but I understand maybe not wanting it right across the street from a school. I can kind of dig it. So, but whatever, we have like the Fat Cobra porn shop that's like right across the street from a school. So, I mean,
well, in a COVID world or in a post-COVID world, do you think they'll regain their popularity where they were before, given that
they will never lose
the activity? Yes, given that some of the activity requires you to be within 6 feet, let's say.
Man. Okay, so let's first of all go ahead and talk about, if you're willing to go to a strip club at all. Well, you're willing to go to a strip club. And so I'm going to say that those predominantly fellas are willing to probably brave a bit of the old COVID.
Fair.
And that would be the one place that no son bitch is going to bitch about wearing a mask.
Right.
Yeah. Ladies shaking it.
Yeah.
Mask. Oh shit. I'm sorry.
Well, the funny thing about that is, in Louisiana, they've been doing drive-through lap dances, virtual lap dances, drive-through.
Nice. I think they did something like that here, similar.
Yeah. So I don't know. All right.
Hey, the ladies got to do, and I assume there's fellow strippers too. Right on. I mean, I don't condone the business. I mean, again, to me, like similar to like prostitution, I would rather it be legal and regulated and done in a clean and safe environment. Fine.
I guess that's relative, right? Clean and safe. I don't know.
I always wonder exactly what stories to share on this podcast.
We might have to do a director's cut where
I believe that's called the Patreon, is what that's called.
Go.
Are you familiar with that? That's where like people pay us extra. You get a bonus episode where we talk that filthy.
Well, I guess if we could exclude my mom and your mom, then I could tell some stories.
Hey, right? No, that's what I'm saying. So with that in mind, again, just like prostitution, and quite frankly, I think with drugs too, it's legal. I mean, people are going to do whatever they're going to do. They're just going. So if it's legal and if it's regulated and to try to make it a safe and happy experience for everybody there trying to do it. I mean, if you're out to go smoke some crack, you're probably going to go find some crack to smoke.
Right.
You know what? If you can buy some crack at the crack shop, which what a fucked up place that would be to work at. Oh man. But, right? I mean, so weed is not legal there, right?
It is not.
Right. So let me break down. I mean, I don't know. Here's what legal marijuana is like in a state. It's great. And, the state is fine. We're not burning down. Well, we are for other reasons.
Yeah, for other reasons, yeah.
But the amount of money generated is a lot. And, it isn't just reefer madness everywhere. So, if it's kind of a bold move to say, hey, let's have crack shops too. I don't know. I mean, but again, it seems like kind of a bold move.
Yeah, that might. Yeah,
I don't know if I can really get down with that because, you're gonna have commercials for crack,
Right. There might be a fair amount of pushback on that one.
And maybe rightfully so. So I mean,
overall,
a line at
yeah,
the heroin shop,
That's a bigger conversation. So overall, you are not buying strip clubs. You're selling strip clubs. Sell.
I'm all for them, whichever one that falls into.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. The next one. I got it. Here we go. The next one.
All right.
Or sell. Fast food restaurants.
I have patronized them for many years, and they're pros and cons. Cheap, crappy food is available, whether it's at the drive-thru or at the grocery store. There's cheap crap food and there's better food, and drive-thrus and fast food, there's very little better food, but it is out there. You can find it. You pay more for it, of course. I think it's worth it. I mean, shoot, we just had sushi delivered, which, you go, huh, really?
Yeah.
But we even called and we asked them to put extra ice in the container thing. The people that come pick it up, for the delivery service, they have the little tote bag that's insulated.
Yep.
So they're lickety split. So it was good. And it was great to have sushi again. Man, we haven't had sushi in forever. And I don't know that you would historically call the sushi restaurant a drive-through, fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
But it was in every comparable way to what any fast food restaurant is now. I mean, we called we did the order on the phone, or not the phone. Sorry, we ordered online, and it got picked up and delivered. That's like every fast food that we get right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I love that fast food, but again, that was a lot more expensive than, say, going to Mickey D's. Although that is the one thing that I'm always kind of blown away by, like when we were younger, like everybody, oh, let's go to Taco Bell. It's so cheap. Let's go to Taco Bell. It's so cheap. Man, spend $9 at Taco Bell. Anyway, first of all, if you can eat $9 at Taco Bell, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Taco Bell at that point. But hey, whatever. I guess I would just say then if you got $9 to spend, maybe you could spend it on something a little better. Granted, you're not going to get a lot of sushi for $9. I will grant you that.
Yes.
But
I remember
in this day and age when everything is almost fast food, in this day and age where
you're right.
Every restaurant that's still in existence is more or less fast food.
Right.
I
remember spending $10 to $15 at Taco Bell on 122nd back in the late 90s. I mean,
There you go. So you put it down, and that's the thing. And if there were, I mean, so a lot of times it's what's open, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if it's late night, but like you got some neat restaurants back there that are open late night.
Yes.
Like Waffle House.
Yes.
Like that place is open all night long, right?
In
normal times.
No. Waffle House never shut down. It stayed open. The thing is,
right,
if you are a frequent patron of Waffle House, you've probably been exposed to everything, including the coronavirus, years ago.
Is it? I mean, Waffle House.
I can count the times on one hand that I've been in Waffle House during the day.
Okay, so it's always a nighttime is the right time.
Nighttime. It's like from 2 o'clock to like 8 in the morning is Waffle House main hours.
Wow. And is it busy?
People leave the bars and they go right to Waffle House. And it is packed. If you drive by a Waffle House at 4 a.m., pre-COVID days when bars were open, Waffle House is packed.
Really?
Packed. And the funny thing is, there's an equal amount of flies to people in Waffle House at all times. It's just, I mean, dude, I'm telling, it's just, the South is a little bit of a different place. And I don't know, there's just a lot of interesting things that go on, and the Waffle House is one of them. The food is good. It's probably not good for you. It's probably bad for you. But it's so good. It's so good. And I mean,
all the pictures I've seen,
and we also have a place back here. I don't really want to give them a free plug unless they want to send me a free cookout.
Yeah, nice.
Place called the Cookout, and it's also open 24 hours. It opens at 5 p.m. and then it stays open to 5 a.m. Sometimes it opens for lunch on the weekends, but it's primarily a nighttime place, and they don't have an inside. It's just a drive-through, and it's drive-through food, and it's like deep Southern fried food.
Nice, yeah.
It's corn dogs and fries and curly fries and milkshakes and all the good like diabetes and heart attacks.
Yeah. I finally experienced a couple of years ago. We got to go to Disney, which was fun, and we got to go to the In-N-Out. And I'd never been before.
Mm-hmm.
That place is delicious.
In-N-Out's delicious.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they are so dang efficient. I mean, they had double drive-through lines going on with a dude in the middle with a headset and like an iPad or whatever, banging out orders on either side. Boom, boom, car, all the way down the line. I mean, just pure production and such high quality food banged out that fast. It can be done. That's what I'm saying. When you see something done like that and you go, damn, why is not everybody doing it this good?
Right.
If these folks can figure it out, why can't we?
Do you have a Chick-fil-A in your part of town out there?
I don't think so anymore. We used to, but I mean, the last time I remember Chick-fil-A was in the mall, and I ain't been in the mall.
All right. So Chick-fil-A is big back here. Huge.
Right.
And they have the same thing. They've got the double drive-through lines. They've got big canopies put up so the rain and the sun doesn't hit you. And they got the, same deal you're talking about, somebody with an iPad, and then you don't even pay at the window anymore. There's another person halfway down the line that swipes your card or takes your money. And then you just drive up to the window and they just hand you your food and you're off. Yeah. You're just,
churning them out, baby.
And say what you want about Chick-fil-A. There's a lot of backlash about Chick-fil-A right now. And
their chicken sandwiches are bomb. I don't care.
Yeah, and who they give money to and all that. And
I know. But chicken sandwiches are bomb.
Dude, the chicken sandwiches are ridiculous. I had Chick-fil-A the other day, and I went there and got breakfast minis. And, I mean, it's such a good experience. You know what I mean? It's like,
they're afterwards, or is it a better experience because you know that you feel a little bit like, oh, I shouldn't be. Oh, it's so delicious.
Well, I mean, here's the deal, though. There's a lot of companies that we give our money to that like give their money to people we don't like and we just don't know about it.
For sure.
You know,
You know about this one.
about Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. I love Chick-fil-A. I'm
That's
sorry.
what I'm saying. You just say, well, whatever. All right, what's your next buy or sell?
So, buy or sell. Doomsday preppers, buy or sell.
I mean, the idea certainly looked like it gained a bit of merit recently. You know, and I'm sure a lot of those folks feel pretty high and mighty these days. You see the reasoning behind it, of course. I guess it's just to what extreme you take things.
Right. And my take on it for you is it worth the investment? Like everybody wants to be prepared.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, it's relative to the investment you're making. You know, I mean, I was about to say, like, you know, if you're building the full tilt bunker and you know, I mean, you're sinking all of any money you have into your doomsday prepping. Are you moving out to the woods and living in a shack? I mean, you know, what extremes are you going to? Are you just buying a couple of extra tubs of food, of dry MREs, and calling that your doomsday prepping? And are you just buying a gun? I mean, are you doing all those things? You know, it's to what level are you doomsday prepping? I mean, man, I've seen some stuff where, I mean, like I said, everything from outright bunkers, which, okay, to like these like mobile, I mean, they're almost like RVs that they're on like almost like a military truck platform, or like an industrial, like big
chassis.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. They look so cool. Oh my God, that looks so bad. I mean, talk about going camping, right? I mean, dude, that thing, because you're in your own contained unit. You know, it's a big pickup truck, essentially, a big one, but it's a pickup truck. You know, and so I mean, it's all got all the nimbleness of a giant pickup truck, which is pretty good in the big middle of nowhere. It's got the capability to drive over dang near anything in the woods that you come across, or the mountains, or whatever, off the grid. They have they're completely self-contained. You know, they have their own.
It's got the anti-puncture tires and all that. And
good point. You know, but I mean, it's got, like, you know, solar panels and its own water system, its own water purifying system, its own air purifying system for the living space inside. I don't know. They're awesome. And again, you know, if you got a $1 or $2 extra laying around, then get yourself a sweet truck. But or however much they are. I mean, again, the thing the ones that are really popular out here are the Sprinter vans. I don't know if you have they have them everywhere, and
I've seen them. Yeah.
They're really popular with like the sporty guy community, the outdoor enthusiast. Again, I love one. They're great. They're huge.
You can hang up the bike racks on the inside, throw your bike in there, and
no, man. Well, the ones I've seen where they basically have like a hitch for the back where you could put like 7. You could hang 7 big mountain bikes from the back, which is impressive. And then you have the entire van itself, which I have seen those things kitted out, I mean, to remarkable levels. I mean, to where the end product truck that you buy, like the truck, like the base model truck is like a Mercedes diesel 4-wheel drive,
right,
van thing, and those are like $100,000, right, starting out.
Right.
That's and now you got to throw or pay a dude another $100,000 or so at least
to kit it out,
or more. I mean, the prices I've seen on these things are just stupid. Yeah, I mean, just to the moon. And again, they're neat they're great. I mean, they're awesome. You know, I mean, whatever you're into, I guess. But as far as doomsday prepping, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess, you know, maybe change that, edit it a bit to, you know, current day prepping. I guess this is moderately doomsday-ish.
Well,
You
I
know,
mean,
just buy some extra toilet paper.
yeah, I mean, for the people who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars building these bunkers, did it work? I mean, obviously, if, you know, Russia or China, whoever dropped a bomb on us, you know, that's a totally different game we're talking about. But for the people who prepped and who went underground or whatever, they're not really any better off than us who just stayed in our houses, right? So I'm just kind of thinking,
for this current situation, no. I mean,
yeah, for this current situation, you know.
So I mean, like I guess this would kind of lead to it. I mean, like you know, gun sales go through the roof every time. Well, every time white people feel panicky. I mean, gun sales just go. And so I mean, you know, like they're saying now, I mean, you know, I mean, folks are feeling so panicky that, you know, gun sales are again through the roof. You know, if that's the big doomsday prepping that everybody's doing, is just getting armed to the teeth. Great. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why.
The thing about guns is,
I don't know why that makes you feel suddenly so safe. I mean,
yeah,
if things are that bad, no. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm pro firearm. Although I could even debate that, and I'm all ears. But I mean, like, just this kind of like reactionary buying of,
right.
This is my safety blanket, you know, and now things are okay.
Guns and toilet paper were both reactionary buying. I mean, the whole toilet paper thing, I don't understand.
Mine people were actually hoarding that, try to sell it like on Amazon.
Well, I mean, the thing about it was, like, you don't need toilet paper if you get coronavirus. That's not something you need.
Dude, you take one step over into the shower because you're at home.
Yeah, exactly.
If things are that bad.
But I mean, intestinal stuff was not part of the coronavirus. Like, it doesn't give you diarrhea or anything. Like,
well, I mean, just that part of the, I mean, like, that was the part of the supply chain that was going to break down, not like the food or anything else.
Like if people were
like, oh my God, we're going to need to go out and buy milk, you know, and like there was like no milk to be had. No, it was toilet paper.
Now, if people were like hoarding meat or hoarding canned goods or things like that, I could get it. But toilet paper? Like,
I've seen some examples of like people having, like, I guess that would be a fun segment to do, like the people's hoards during the pandemic.
Right.
Because like, I don't know, the wife was showing me one. I think, I mean, this lady had a garage full. Her garage was stuffed.
Of toilet paper?
Toilet paper, diapers. It was a lot. It was mostly like diapers and like baby stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have a baby. So,
I mean, was she just looking to flood the secondary market like eBay?
Yeah, I mean, this is or come up. I mean, this is how I'm going to retire on this big load of diapers, and I mean, you know, there's a few examples of that. Somebody bought, what the heck was it? A guy bought like a bunch of, it was either like bottled water. No, it was a hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer.
There's a guy down south, I think, that bought like just ridiculous amounts of hand sanitizer, and then was trying to like just completely gouge people on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And he got shut down and had to like give it all back. Which
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
Because he couldn't sell it. Like they wouldn't.
Right. They wouldn't honor it.
Yeah. No. Keep it.
All right. Number 4.
Yeah.
4. This is the final buy or sell.
Yep.
And this is kind of a longer question, but it's masks. Will masks always be part of our new normal now? Or do you foresee a time in the future where after a vaccine comes out and it's proven effective that people will stop wearing masks, or people for the next foreseeable future, carry a mask with it? Are you buying masks or selling masks?
I mean, I could see it becoming more standard. I could see, like before the Rona, like you never saw somebody with a mask in this, never ever. Like maybe like 2 or 3 times would I ever see somebody with a mask. Outside of a hospital. So, and I don't even know about that many times. So I think it will be more commonplace. Yet at the same time, as soon as anybody has confidence that this thing is under control at all, I mean, man, people don't want to wear them at all now. I mean, and let alone if they actually think they don't have to. I think some people that maybe are in a higher risk group might choose to, and that will be more common to see. And not out of place. Like,
well, let me ask you this. So there's definitely a segment of our population that's anti-vaccine. And we've talked about that. The anti-vaxxers seem to be in correlation with the anti-maskers, if I'm saying that right. And if there is a vaccine that is deemed acceptable and safe, and people who don't wear a mask, who don't get the vaccine, are at higher risk, do you think those people will continue to not wear a mask and not get a vaccine, or do you think that they will bend or budge on one or the other?
I don't see them. The people that don't want to wear a mask, and again, I don't want to wear one either. I don't think anybody really wants to wear one. But, when I go to the store, I wear one. My biggest issue, and this is my own personal one, is, when I like to go out to, try to go ride my bike in the woods, nice. I'm not wearing my mask, and neither is anybody else. I tried to, and it was stupid. But, in normal going into buildings and whatnot, yeah, I could see it being a little more.
I mean, I'm wearing a mask. Like I wear this outside because I'm wearing a mask.
Yeah, well,
I see the smile on your face, right?
You go for it, man. I mean,
some people say wearing a mask, I'm asking for trouble. I mean, what? I mean,
have you actually worn that out there?
Here's the deal. It's October. It's gonna get cold. I cannot grow hair anymore, right? I can't. I'm a bald guy.
Yeah.
This keeps my head warm. It keeps my ears warm. It kind of keeps my nose warm, and the face part keeps the Rona away. I mean, what's wrong?
I say you go for it. Yeah. I mean, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong, right? I walk into the store. Funny little story. I went into 7-Eleven. And I forgot my mask in the car, and the girl goes, "Oh, sir, I'm sorry, you can't come in the store without a mask." I'm like, "Oh, shoot, oh, my bad. I'm so sorry." Went out to the store, put this mask on, and I walk in. And she says, "Sir, you can't wear that mask in the store." And I'm like, "You just told me to go get a mask, and I got a mask." It's a no-win situation.
Well, somebody had to be that guy. I'm glad
here's the best part. Now I'm legit.
Going for like top 10 most wanted.
So, I mean, I could be like Al Qaeda, or I could just be, I want to be stylish while I'm being warm.
I think, sorry, I have to have some chocolate.
So should my voice be like blurred while I'm wearing? Do I look like I'm in witness protection?
A little bit.
I mean, I think it's a little warm. But no, I have the.
I guess, have there been more? I am curious. Have there been more, robberies and whatnot? Now that everybody wears a mask, I know that's like the big.
I don't know. I mean, how do I look now? Is this better? Is this more socially acceptable now?
I don't feel threatened at all.
I'll wear this one, or I'll wear, my favorite one, or,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think anybody likes wearing a mask. I don't mind wearing a mask. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'm not the guy that says, wearing a mask takes away my freedoms. Like, I studied political science. I like to think I'm a semi-smart guy, and I understand when, the government is trying to take freedoms away from me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I believe in science. And I don't think wearing a mask is, turning over my freedoms. Like, I don't see the slippery slope there. I don't. I mean, there's people online that will spout that out all day, all night. And I don't see it, because then if someone says, oh, you've got to register your thumbprint in order to be able to come in this establishment, then I'm going to go, whoa, hold on a second. But a mask? I would need some serious convincing from people who I trust to say that's, that I'm asserting the fact that I'm giving up my freedoms by wearing a mask in a store. It doesn't bother me that much. I wouldn't voluntarily just wear a mask unless they let me wear this one.
Yeah.
But I don't see it as taking away my freedoms or my liberties.
Dude. It's something that I've been thinking about more, of people that are newly disenfranchised.
Mm-hmm.
People that are foreign to that idea. People that maybe everything's gone pretty darn great so far in their lives, by way of just what they were born into.
Mm-hmm.
And that all the new changes that we're all experiencing, while they suck for everybody, yes, for a lot of folks that have been disenfranchised for a long period of time,
Mm-hmm.
this is another bump in the road, and okay, keep on going. For other folks, it's like the first bump in the road.
Right.
Or it's the biggest one that they've ever had to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those folks in a lot of ways, in that it's the first time I've felt so disillusioned with my own country. I've never been uber patriot, but I've always, been proud to be American person. And that has been just remarkably shaken. And that's the first time I've ever experienced that. And it's such a new and different feeling for me personally. And I just can't help but think that a lot of folks that are being told for the first time, no, you can't come in here unless you do a thing, like, right. Oh my God, put on a mask. And just that little thing is like that earth shattering. I mean, that's the first time they've had any speed bump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which and I don't know if I would say like in life completely, because like it's weird, because I would look at a lot of these folks and I say, okay, they're not financially well off. They're not rich by any measure. So that sense of entitlement is more than just like, I'm so wealthy I've never had to experience a hardship. It's beyond that. That is that white privilege. That is, mm-hmm. It's beyond a money thing. It is that I can walk around with not impunity, but a lot closer to impunity than pretty much everybody else.
Like old boy walking down the street with the machine gun.
Hmm?
Like old boy walking down the street in Wisconsin with the machine gun.
No, of course, forget about it. I mean, that is a great example. Yeah, you know what? I got a couple other great examples.
Okay.
So last week we saw that fine lady getting tased
yes.
for not wearing a mask.
Yes.
This is related.
Dude, that was incredible, by the way.
I'm patting myself on the back for the segue I'm about to go into here. Because we were just talking about masks. This lady refused to wear a mask. Boom, got the taser at a high school football event.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I believe yesterday, in Idaho, a man who we can discuss further, I believe his name is Ammon Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
And this fellow has a history of being an anus.
Mm-hmm.
And is full of entitlement, like we've discussed. This fellow also refused to wear a mask at a high school football game.
Right.
And this is what gets me, because the police were actually called because he was then told to leave. And he refused to leave. The police said there's nothing we can do. He's not hurting anybody. I'm going to let you soak that in for a moment if you weren't already familiar with that story.
Right.
So, I mean, because I know I've read more than a few stories of lots of folks meeting a horrible fate for a lot less than that.
A lot less than that.
By the thin blue line folks.
Or a cigarette or something along those lines.
Less than that.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying. I mean, there are endless examples, unfortunately. And so here's this fellow who has been trespassed, and the police are there. They're familiar with what's going on. They refuse to enforce the law, which, again, I didn't know that was an option. And so I'm stunned by that. Kind of, because not really, because I'm not stunned by anything the cops seem to do anymore. And they shut down the football game.
Right.
They stopped the entire football game. Now, how this person, Mr. Bundy, didn't meet a swift death twice.
Correct.
One from the cops.
Yes.
In the first place, for just refusing, the cop told you to do something, you said no. Usually that's where a lot of people get smoked.
Mm-hmm.
Or even when they do the thing the cop told them, they still get smoked.
Right.
So he avoided that demise, and somehow also avoided getting the holy. How did he not ended up in the middle, planted up to his butt in the field by all of the people that were pissed that he ruined the football game? He literally ruined the football game.
Ruined the entire football game.
How did they not stomp him into a hole? I mean, these are proud football people, right? That are really big into football.
Supposedly, yeah.
I guess Idaho maybe doesn't take their football seriously.
Or they take their
privilege. Not the SEC.
Right.
Anyway, so and that same piece of filth, Bundy, is a history of his family has been mooching off of federal government lands, letting their cattle graze for generations illegally. Which, how do you get away with something illegally for generations? Be a white person.
You've gone deep into the research on this guy, haven't you?
But honestly, you have done something illegally for generations, and you're not in jail.
Well, here's the thing.
How does that happen?
Well, here's the thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about doing something for generations and you're not in jail, then it becomes your right and your privilege.
Well, and that's their argument.
You know what I'm saying?
That we've been here forever, you know? Yeah.
And I mean, that's what we've been talking about on this show since the beginning is it only takes one time for something to happen for it to begin to be a privilege, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want to derail your thought, But think back to all the movies you've seen where the guy is driving drunk and the cop's like, oh, this is so-and-so's son. Let's escort him home, right? And we know that happens in normal day, but or that's the mayor's kid, or that's so-and-so, he's drunk. Put him in your car, drive him home, we'll drive his car home.
Yeah, for sure.
Then that becomes the norm. And then that might be an extreme case, but things like that become the norm for certain people. And not the norm for others.
No, well, I mean, another example, same batch of idiots. So this Bundy family that has been illegally using federal lands for their own personal profit, because they're ranchers. So they let their cows graze on federal lands and they profit from that.
Correct.
That is ridiculous. I think I might be breaking it. Fuck those people.
Right.
Fuck them real hard.
Yeah.
So again, these are going to be the people that are going to be the first ones talking about, oh, those welfare queens in the cities taking their free Obama phones. I mean, amazing. And you've been mooching literally your entire life and your grandpappy's life and your grandpappy's life. Your entire existence is from mooching. That's amazing. You've done nothing. And then they did more than nothing. They took over a federal building, the Malheur Wildlife Refuge, a couple of years back, or a few years ago now.
Yeah.
This was when Obama was still in office.
Yeah.
And should have just drone struck the shit out of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly. I mean, they took over a federal building and occupied it with weapons and threatened violence to anybody that came by. They had snipers training firearms on federal officers with no repercussion.
Zero.
None. The only consequence they faced was when one of them left and they got pulled over and they came out with their gun, and then finally the cop, if you got fine, we'll shoot you. I mean, it took that much. It took that much. And those guys, even after they went to court, like, they're already out. Like, yeah. They got like a slap on the wrist for that. I mean, and yet the same thing happens. They talk about like what? So the same equivalent that's been drawn up that I've seen between these welfare queen cowboys and then all the people up in Seattle when all the riots were going on and the protests were going on, and they created that Chaz zone, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Big free.
Yeah.
Zone. And okay, stupid idea, honestly.
Right.
Stupid. But how is that any different?
It's really not any different.
Yeah.
It's not.
They're both bad ideas.
Right.
And both should have been stomped.
Mm-hmm.
And only one got stomped.
And it was the second one.
It was not the welfare cowboys.
Right.
So yeah. Screw those guys.
Yeah. I mean, I try to stay away from the subject of privilege, just because it is a highly charged subject, and
that's why it needs to be talked about.
It needs to be talked about, but you have to talk about it in a certain way, because people get really defensive and clutch onto it, like the Second Amendment. Remember a few years ago when Obama was going to close the loop on the gun shows things, and everybody went nuts, and they took it out of context. If it's brought up in the right context, it can be discussed. But
remember when nobody gave a shit when Trump just said, "Oh, I'll just take all their guns. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait to get approval."
And nobody did anything.
Oh, dude. I'm just. I mean, we can play the if Obama had done whatever Trump did. I mean, we can play that game all day long, and it's a ridiculous game because if Obama would have done anything, he'd have been just torched immediately. But I mean, honestly, I don't
know. I really hope that anybody watching this promises me from the bottom of their heart that they're going to go out and vote on November 3rd. Or if you vote by mail, now.
Yeah,
because we are at a inflection point in the history of this country where things can continue to get really bad. Or things can start to turn around. Now, I'm not saying Joe Biden is a savior. I'm not saying Joe Biden is Superman. He's going to take us to the promised land. But he sure the heck ain't Donald Trump. And the thing that people don't understand is not necessarily Donald Trump. It's the Secretary of the Interior. It's the Secretary of State. It's the director of the FBI and all his underlings. I mean, look at this. Let me give you an example, right? You're in Portland, Oregon, a very environmentally friendly part of the country, more so than the part of the country I live in. When has the person in charge of the EPA ever come out on the side of polluters? Think about that. Yeah, Think about that. Think about the guy. The guy Donald Trump put in charge of the EPA was one of the biggest EPA critics and polluters in the history of the United States.
But I mean, he's done that.
Literally put the fox in charge of the hen house.
But he's done that like with almost every damn position there. I mean, look at that horrible witch in charge of education.
DeVos, absolutely.
I mean, there is nothing but conflict of interest up and down. It's like conflict of interest isn't even a term. I mean, it kind of blows me. I'm sure it blows everybody away. I mean, every person there. I mean, what was it? The first guy, was it the Rex Tillerman guy? He was the first in the Exxon, really.
The Secretary.
Okay. Yeah. Straight. So I mean, every single position that's been filled or appointed has either been to completely grift it or completely trash it, or both. Like I said, the EPA, forget about. I mean, and now we've talked about like the CDC. I mean, you put people that aren't even like. I mean,
if we could pause on that for a second. So, coincidentally, he takes over the CDC and puts his people in place, and they stop reporting the coronavirus numbers. And then the next week he comes out and says, "We're in great shape. Look at the numbers."
Yeah, and people just lap it up. They're like, "Oh, that sounds. I don't see a problem with that. Oh, that sounds. It's good math to me." I mean, and that's, those are the folks that we're dealing with now. I mean, and we always have been. That's the silent majority, is all these idiots, apparently. Silent majority, I mean, apparently the silent majority is a bunch of dumbasses that were at least smart enough to know to be ashamed of coming out in public and saying their stupid shit. But now they're encouraged to do it. And they're emboldened to do it. And that's the same thing as all the calls to action that he gives out to all of his followers. I just wanted to mention one other thing on Biden, because it seems so popular that to be bagging on Biden, and I don't know why that is. The critiques that I hear about him, that he's old. I'm like, how is that a criticism? That he's old, that he's frail, that he's somehow not in good shape. I'm like, oh, compared to the young Adonis that is Donald Trump. I mean, it's like we're just not even on the same planet with people.
Right.
I mean, what? And again, I don't want to, reference everything back to ye old Joe Rogan, but whatever. He's got a huge platform and he influences a lot of people. And I enjoy watching him sometimes because it burns the time and whatever, and it's entertainment. But at the same time, like I said, he's got a big platform and people listen to the shit that comes out of his mouth. And he talks about, oh, I just don't know if I could vote for a guy that, is just old like Joe Biden. And he just seems like he's not really there and he's incoherent. I'm like,
he's 2 years difference in age than Donald Trump. Like,
yeah. And I mean, he actually looks like he's, maybe at all fit and doesn't just stuff his face with freaking Big Macs all day long.
Right.
I mean, are we really having this debate? I mean,
the political discourse in the country has devolved so far down.
What I really think it is with guys like that, like with Joe Rogan, it's like no matter what they do, like they know they're going to vote for Trump. Right. They don't want to admit it to people.
Right.
They aren't strong enough to come out and say he's my guy and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
They're the kind of more cowardly approach of I just can't be inspired enough. I just, one time I heard a clip where he said a couple of times. And man, I saw that clip at least 653 times on Fox. So, he must just not be all there. So I've just got to vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you are so chicken shit.
Yep.
You can't just go, nah, I really back that dim-witted Nazi fellow over there.
Mm-hmm.
And not any reasonable person. And I again, like I mentioned before, if people were honest about that and go, I'm really into him because taxes or whatever, fine. Just come out and say that.
Right. Well, like you said, that Nazi fellow over there. Tell me how hard this is. If somebody says, Jamal, do you denounce racism?
No, man.
Hey, you know what? Racism sucks. Racists suck. Screw them all. How hard is that to say unless you don't want to because you agree with them?
Well, right? Hey, don't piss off your base. I mean,
how hard is that to say, right? Now, if I was running for office and I had a lot of racists that were voting for me and supporting me, I don't know if I'd be down with that. I just don't.
I know, but I'm gonna go ahead and say there's more than one or two things that are different between you and Donald Trump. So
maybe three.
Maybe. All right, man. We're rounding third here. So what's I did the bagging up. Do you have another one? Because I've got one I want to throw out here.
Go ahead. It's all you.
Awesome. CRISPR. Are you familiar?
Talk to me.
Very good. CRISPR is a gene editing tool.
Okay.
So gene editing is being able to change, the very core of what makes us whatever we are, which has a lot of pros and cons. A pro of gene editing would be, say,
getting rid of Down syndrome.
You edit out disease. Great example. You could edit out every single disease we know of. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, could you make my kid a little taller?
Right. Could you make him have blue eyes? Could you make him have blue eyes? Make him have brown eyes?
You want him to be really smart.
Right.
You want to have a big, big brain.
Right. More athletic.
Yeah. I want my kiddo to be able to jump over the moon. Or all those things, really. I would like the premium package. That's kind of where that leads to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now that's going on in China a lot, right? Or at least that's the rumor, is that the
Oh,
Chinese have been doing that.
I'm pretty confident it's going on here too. We may or may not like make a lot of news about it, or it might get drowned out in all the other chaos of our country. But yeah, I'm sure that China, or I'm sure Russia, some of their new Olympic contestants might do some pretty extraordinary things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're all about, exploiting that
It's interesting you say that, because I watched a program. I watched some weird stuff on Netflix and online, and they were doing a profile on this Chinese scientist who was doing some gene splicing and stuff, and had come up with some pretty interesting things that he had done. He had engineered ways to guarantee that the offspring would be a male.
Yeah.
And that the offspring would have certain qualities and not have other qualities. And they ended up like locking the guy up, like, allegedly locking the guy up.
Yeah, I was going to say locking him up in the Chinese laboratory.
Yeah. Exactly. But so they were talking about the stuff that this guy was doing, and the weird thing about it was science that he had found that was originally had been developed by the Nazis in the late 30s, early 40s.
Wow.
In their quest to create the perfect white-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired, German.
Wow.
And he had come across some of this science that was in its infancy and kind of accelerated it, and who knows what really happened with that, but stuff's a little scary, man. I don't know, that stuff's a little scary.
So here's your buy and sell.
Yes.
Would you be in favor then if you could have, dial up baby?
I'm going to go on record and say that stuff scares the bejesus out of me. And personally, heck no. No way.
Again, recall at the same time, no disease.
No disease that you know of.
No disease.
Right?
You can't just get a little software update for.
I mean, but history has told us that whenever you mess with science, there's always an unintended consequence, right? Nothing is perfect. You do one thing and something else happens.
Yeah, that's why you have like version 2.0.
I mean,
nobody wants to be like, I get it. Nobody wants to be like, the beta CRISPR run. I get
right,
that.
Exactly.
That's what China's doing now.
But the thing is, here's the thing though. Here's my opinion. Countries like China and countries like Russia, in my humble opinion, don't necessarily care about the people. Okay? Just like the Nazis in Germany experimented on the Jews for 20 years, and they could care less if the Jew lived or died. Yes. I'm not saying that those countries are going to that extent, but I think they're looking at it more of a means to an end of, we're going to experiment on 100,000 babies or 100,000 people. You care less what happens to the 100,000, but if the results show that this works, then we'll go with it. And those people were expendable. They were just part of the experiment. Which
I think right now is going on with the whole, Russian COVID vaccine.
Absolutely.
Whatever. I think it was like some people in, I don't think it was Azerbaijan. That's the whole war thing that's brewing up. But it was somewhere, I thought, God dang, I could have swore it was the same country. Somebody was getting the first round of Russian tests, or the Russian vaccine.
Right. I would not want to be 100 miles close to that.
Dude, all I could notice was, it wasn't Russia that took the first Russian vaccine.
It was one of their little throwaway countries that they have under their Soviet, or not Soviet anymore, but Russian Federation. And I mean, those are the same people that hid Chernobyl for as long as they possibly could, and people are still being born with 3 arms over there. So
For
I don't
sure.
know, man. I don't know, but for me, I'm selling on that. I'm like, I'm lucky. I've got my 2 older stepdaughters and my 2 younger daughters, and we got 10 fingers and 10 toes and good health, and I wouldn't risk it because I don't know what's going to happen. And that whole dial-up baby and the whole gene splicing and all that, man, I don't know. I'm selling on that.
Right on. A similar, or I guess a side note of it. Elon Musk, the guy for Tesla.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
crazy mofo,
like nobody knows who he is. But he has his whole Neuralink.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna sign up for that one? Which is, again, this is like an implant. This is an actual implant into your dome, so that you can get some Wi-Fi into your cranium and download an app to your face or something.
I don't need that. I mean, I give away enough information on a daily basis just by having this in my hand, right? And the computer that I'm talking on. There's really no upside in me to let someone put a chip in me. There just isn't. I don't care. You're paying me. I can, press a button on the side of my head and see a scratch. No, you're not. I might have a chip in me now from whenever that I don't know about, but I'm not knowingly going to let somebody put a chip in me. Not going to do it.
No, not even if it makes you like smarter.
Hey, like I said earlier, I'm 47 years old and I've got by this far being as smart as I am, and
it can give you the edge.
I'm good. I don't need that edge right now. There's nothing you could do to convince me to get Neuralink. Like, yeah, there's not.
Do you have another thing? Because I've got a few things, but
no, go ahead. I'm good. I had mine. You go right ahead.
All right. So, like, lost in all the chaos is Trump paying $750 in taxes for a year. And yes, that is outrageous. I think it's outrageous. Am I wrong in saying that he's not a cheat because he's only using the tax code as it's written? Did he do anything wrong?
100%. He played the game. That's one of those don't hate the player, hate the game. But I hate the player.
That's what I'm hearing a lot from his supporters. That's screwed business.
No, it's not. It is not. Because, like I've said before, if we are going to live in a civilized society, we have to take care of each other. And the most basic way we take care of each other is through taxes, and then using that tax money to take care of people. And the rich guy club at some point's got to get over themselves. They use up a large majority of resources without paying for it. It should be the other way around. The people who earn the least amount should get the most amount of resources. And the people who have the most amount of resources should pay to help out that lower part. The fact that the guy claims he's a billionaire and he pays $750 in taxes is absurd. And it's what's wrong with the tax code right now. There should be no loophole that allows a person with that amount of wealth to pay $750 of taxes, not only in any one year, but in 10 out of 15 years. And to the people who are saying, good job, Don, screw them.
Right? Yes. I guess, is he the right target to be mad at? From what I understand, Jeff Bezos pays nothing, and he's actually worth a lot more.
Screw him too. Then I'm not just simply saying it's Donald Trump. It's that, like I said, it's that.
But he's the one running for office right now, and when that came out, like, it was supposed to be such a bombshell, And it was like Donald Trump doesn't pay his taxes, and I'm like, ooh, that sounds kind of hot. And then learn more about it and go, okay, he's got probably a pretty sweet tax attorney, and I kind of wish my tax guy was that good.
Right.
But I am not a Trump fan. I'm finding it really hard to go, oh, you motherfucker, you're so terrible. Yes, but it's the system.
No, 100%.
I mean, he's under zero obligation to pay anything more. So why the hell would he? I mean, would you?
That's why he didn't want his tax returns released, because
Why would that? That's what I don't understand. Why wouldn't he go, you know what? Boom, here's my tax returns. Look at how great of a businessman I am. And his supporters eat it up. And there's nothing you can say about it, because even when he laid that out there, he was like, those tax cuts came under your and Obama's administration, partly. So that's weird.
mm-hmm.
I mean, what the hell is Biden supposed to say to that? You got that right. I mean, dude, I get it. It sucks. And yes, I'm all for the tax code being rewritten, but pointing it at and going, oh, that's a big gotcha moment for Donald Trump. I think that's crazy. I think for him, that's an absolute win.
It's not a gotcha moment. Now, if he had been linked to some Russian bank or something like that, that would be a gotcha moment.
Which he is. I mean, Deutsche Bank, I mean, that's all.
But I mean, what they found out wasn't anything illegal. I think they were hoping to find something illegal. What he did was completely legal. It's one of those, like I said, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yes. So that was my kind of question on that, because, you know, if that was the only thing that came out this week, that would have been like the major story. Oh my God, Donald Trump's taxes finally came out. Everybody's been waiting for those to come out for a long, long time.
Right.
And now that they finally did,
he gets coronavirus, and
but even before the corona, it's like it's what a letdown. It's like, oh, this is not something that's going to sink him.
Right.
I mean, if anything, this is going to really. I mean, if anything, it rallies his supporters around him even more, because they go, "That's my guy. That's who I wish I was."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he's also pissing off the libs, so that's like double great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, that's like I just don't see why that was considered such a bombshell, even worth hiding.
Well, I think it's a bad look. You know what I mean? It's a bad look.
He is a bad look.
He is bad. But I mean,
a bad look. His whole
for 90
a bad look.
For 90% of the country, it's a bad look, right? Yeah. There's that 10%, or maybe even the 1 or 2% that's like, hey, Don, give me the name of your attorney. Give me your tax guy, right? Give it to me. For me, I look at Donald Trump like this. There's been 15 things that have happened that any other politician in history would have been their downfall, and they would be out of the office, right? If you look at right before the election and, you know, what he was saying to women, if that was anybody else, they would have never been elected. Mm. He truly is a Teflon Don, right? He's dodging bullet after bullet. He's taking bullets to the face, and they're bouncing off. Think about if that was George Bush. Either George Bush, and they had only paid $750 in taxes. It would have been over.
That's what I'm saying. It's such a brave.
This guy is bulletproof. He is 100% bulletproof. Well, and the only thing that's going to take him down is the common folk who doesn't like him and doesn't like his policies to vote. That's it. Because he's going to be protected by his supporters, and he's going to be protected by the rich people.
Well, to me, what makes him so bulletproof is, you know, that everything dies in the Senate. You know, I mean, there's no that's where all of the consequence goes away, and that's what protects him and lets him do all the crazy shit that he does and get away with it, because there is no consequence, because McConnell will not allow there to be. And then, oh my gosh, now he's got his own, you know, pet as Attorney General, and I mean, there's zero consequence for anything he does. So why would he want to do anything different?
All right. I mean, he was impeached, and that didn't really go anywhere.
No, nowhere at all.
Because, like you said, it died in the.
Yeah, and everything will continue to, except now. I mean, now the big thing obviously in play is, can they get the justice seated in time? I mean, it's not like they're being. It's not like it's a mystery. It's not like they're. I mean, they're openly saying this is our play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're openly saying our whole strategy is to run this right to the courts because we know we have the court stacked and we're going to walk away. And we don't care how stupid it looks. We don't care how ridiculous it looks. We don't care how absolute see-through and bullshit it looks. It does not matter. It just doesn't matter. And that part is where all the helpless feeling comes in.
And that's scary.
Because all the checks and balances that we got taught about have all been exploited. They've all been thrown out because other people realized, no, it's not gentleman's agreement. That's bullshit. That's not the thing that's surprising everybody. Oh, I'm just surprised that our entire country's run on a gentleman's agreement. That's bullshit. It's not. That's not even it at all. The whole country is run off the idea that people do their effing jobs. But now it seems like
when you have the leader of the Senate,
there's linchpins. I mean, that's the linchpin. A leader of the Senate is absolutely a linchpin in the whole system. And maybe it wasn't ever really shown to be how powerful that position could be until now. I don't know. It seems crazy that this never came up.
Right. And you've got that guy saying, I won't do certain things that he's constitutionally supposed to do.
How do you even get to even walk out of the building at that point? Like, you're openly saying you're not doing your job. You're like, well, okay, then I guess no more job for you.
Right.
I mean, if you or I were at our jobs and said,
we're not going to do this.
Yeah, I mean, really?
Yeah, you're out.
So again, the chasm between action and consequence, between all the folks we see on TV and all the rest of us, it's just making it really. The downside or the problem is that it makes people tune out.
Right.
It makes them feel very hopeless.
Yes.
It makes them feel like there's powerless.
Right.
And tune out, and that is all that they hope for. The less participation, the better. They're trying to keep people from voting any way that they can because they know that they do not have the popular vote behind any of their decisions.
Mm-hmm.
If they actually had a true popular vote of everybody in this country, they know they would get just destroyed.
Right.
So their whole strategy
it's suppression. It's keep it down. I mean, the thing that I meant to send you this during the week, but news broke, I think it was late Friday, that Texas was trying to institute one ballot drop-off per county.
Yeah, that's all right.
And you look and see how freaking big Texas is, and you have other states where they're trying to get every post office as a drop-off point, and Texas is like one per county. And it's like, they're not, like you said, they're not even hiding it. They're not hiding it.
Not even trying to.
Not even trying to hide it.
Don't even care. Because the thing is, if they win, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. I mean, they're just riding off into the sunset at that point.
Yep.
Because they know if they lose, there's, and here's this. I'm going to leave this one for the next episode, and we can pick it up here, perhaps, or we can revisit it anyway, because it seems like it would be one that would take a few minutes. If, by any sweet grace of the universe, Trump loses, I would like to see, justice. And what I think I will see is, we need to heal the nation. And all these people that committed blatant treason in front of us for the last 4 years, we should just go ahead and let them walk away because it's best for the country, because we don't want to set a precedent of political retribution.
Right.
So we can maybe pick that one up next time, unless you have a quick answer for that.
No, that is a long answer, and I have thoughts on both sides. I have some, and I'd like to explore that, because remember, that's what Donald Trump wanted to do to Hillary, and that's what he tried to do.
That was his whole platform, lock her up.
Right. But at the same time, when someone is willfully committing treason, I don't know if you can just let that go.
I would like to think you can't.
But I also don't think that every 4 years or every 8 years, when one party gets voted out, the next administration spends 2 years.
Hammer,
I don't think the next administration spends the first year of their administration prosecuting the former people. But then again, when you blatantly commit treason, I don't think you can let that go. But we can talk about it. I think that's a good tease for next time to talk about it, because every one of these shows we're doing, we're getting closer and closer to Election Day. I mean, we are 29 days away right now. 29 days as of October the 4th from Election Day.
Again, because we're wrapping up, so we're any predictions for the next 7 days?
All right, I'm going to give you a prediction.
Man,
your fearless leader is going to come out and say, "Oh, coronavirus wasn't that bad."
Yep.
The dude could be on a ventilator right this minute. We will never know. We'll never know.
For sure.
Unless he dies. And again, I don't wish ill on him. But unless he dies, he's going to walk out of that hospital and say, "I beat it like I beat everything. It wasn't that bad. You don't need to wear a mask. This is a Democratic hoax. It was made by China."
100%.
That is my number one prediction for the next 7 days. Regardless of if he's knocking on death's door and they resuscitate him and bring him back, he's going to come out and say it wasn't that bad.
Although I do think that might be a little premature, because, I mean, like, it's like they keep talking about like a 2-week period, like from like when you get it, like there's like a good solid 2 weeks of the incubate. I don't know if it's like the incubation time or like for it to run its course, but I think it takes longer. I don't know. It may not resolve. His hospital stay may be going on past this week. You know what I mean? But
he's tweeting from the hospital.
Is it?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet a nickel it ain't him.
Oh no, I don't. Yeah, check the spelling, check the grammar. If the grammar,
right.
It's not him.
Right. It's all like Ivanka and shit. So I mean, I think you're spot on. If he comes out of the hospital on anything but a cart, he's just the most amazing specimen of humanity that's ever walked. Like we didn't already know that. And like you said, this whole thing was just super hoax. Everything should open up, and we should all start licking each other again. Right. Okay, that's I think that's a pretty solid prediction. I mean, I don't know. I'll throw one out for the next 7 days, because it seems like every day is a month. Sometimes in the news world, I'll say I'm going to go on a worldwide kind of level, maybe.
Okay.
Because this is the thing that I'm feeling like that. Like our presence on the worldwide stage is just completely gone. And so all the other people that we spent our entire trillions of dollars of military budget to try to keep in check are now all getting, adventure-y.
It's a good way to put it.
And so, what that might mean, I think, is, folks like China what was it? They raised the Chinese flag in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That has to kind of mean something.
Yeah, that definitely means something.
Yeah. So, I could see, maybe Vlad expanding and taking over some previously lost territories, like Armenia or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I see that.
So you see some instability in the world landscape in the next 7 days?
For certain. And strictly that is due to our lack of presence in the world. Again, and the funny thing is, I know we're trying to wrap up and I'm failing at it, but like I was such a big proponent of us not being the world's police.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, we need to have something other than, our army as our export.
Right.
Turns out us policing the world, yes, there are some downsides.
Mm-hmm.
There was some room for improvement. But
we're a stabilizing force.
Kinda, yeah, definitely help kind of hold some shit together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like it might a little more unraveling out there.
You don't want Putin being the world's policeman, is what you're saying.
Okay.
Or Xi Jinping. Either one of those guys.
Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
Freddie doesn't like being called Winnie the Pooh. Like his name sounds like Winnie the Pooh or some shit. And like if I was a journalist in China and I said that, I would be gone.
Oh, they would behead you on the spot.
Man. So yeah, I mean, we would probably have that to look forward to if Trump wins, I mean, no more disparaging remarks about dear leader.
Mm-hmm.
Some real
yeah.
strong rules and leadership to follow.
It's kind of a good place to end it, and we can
it's fantastic
next week. So, hey, to everybody who watched this all the way to the end, I want to thank you on behalf of Joe and myself. This has been another episode of the Jamal and Joe Show, and hope you like what you heard. We're here every week. We're going to tell the truth. We're going to tell our feelings, and we're going to tell you what we think is right and wrong. And there's only really a couple things for you guys to do as viewers. It's like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Jamal and Joe Show. Like I said, share, subscribe, comment on the YouTube, and give us some feedback. Tell us what you liked, and argue with us. Tell us you agree with this. Just want to hear your opinion. Mr. Joe, you want to close it out?
No, for sure. You nailed it all down, and just hang on for another wild week of adventure.
Hang on for another 7 days. If you hear our voice again in 7 days, you made it. And we'll just take this world in 7 day increments.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll be back to recap and maybe try Jamal's Snack live.
I searched high and low for clam dip and I can't find it. I'm gonna keep the search up. I might have to buy it on Amazon and have it shipped in from somewhere.
I might have my kiddo do like a taste test, like just to see if try to get a generational thing going. We want to keep the dream alive. I was telling him about it. He was watching the clip, and it was just so beautiful because I was explaining the first ingredient, the chips. He's like, "Oh, I like Cool Ranch Doritos." I was like, "I know." And I was like, and then you dip it in some clam dip, and he's like, He's like, okay. And then he thought I was done. I was like, and then he's like, what do you mean, and then?
And then?
Yeah, and I was like, and then you buy some Snickers, and the look, he's like,
and then you
so good. So lots to look forward to.
Yes.
But yeah, we sure appreciate all you folks checking in and checking us out, and we'll be back soon.
See you next week. Peace.